Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Outcomes Rocket podcast. I'm excited to be hosting an outstanding physician leader on our podcast today. Her name is Dr. Marla McLaughlin. She's the Chief Medical Officer at Vera Whole Health. I'm so excited to be hearing what she and her organization are doing with high-quality primary care to help get patients to the right care at the right time, fostering that trust we're all looking for. Marla, such a pleasure to have you here on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. And so let's get into it. What got you into healthcare?
What got me into healthcare, I think a lot of people, it ends up when you experience healthcare throughout your life. On a diagnosis I had at the age of 14, and I was inspired by the people around me, and I thought that's what I want to do. Help people in what makes the most sense. I love the science part. I love the relationship part, and that's how I ended up in primary care.
That's awesome. Well, it's an area of huge opportunities in so many ways. So I'm excited to explore this with you today. Marla, what does your company do to add value in the ecosystem beyond the obvious, right? You help people, but what do you do differently?
Yeah, what we do differently is we really focus 100% on value-based care. And for anybody not familiar with that, value-based care is a model of healthcare that really aligns financial incentives to where there is no consideration other than what is best for the member, which seems really obvious, but unfortunately in our healthcare system, it is not really obvious. And so value-based care just really focuses on the outcomes of what you're doing healthcare-wise for the members and the patients and the quality of the care that you are providing, rather than more of a fee-for-service system that really focuses and aligns financial incentives around the quantity of care you're providing. So it's really quality over quantity, and doing that by providing really whole person care, really good primary care, behavioral health coaching, just really trying to meet the patients where they're at and provide it in a way that actually saves money so that we can provide this to everyone, because we are not in the business of concierge medicine where this is a buy-up. This is a level of primary care that everybody deserves in this country.
That's great, Marla. And so talk to us a little bit about your model.
Our model, ultimately, if I had to give you just a one-liner on what we do, is we get people to high-quality primary care. There are varying ways that we do that. We have a really good tech component that provides an application that educates and guides members through a really complex primary care system and healthcare system, period. So that's the lightest touch we do, is maybe we're educating and we're getting people to really high quality primary care that is near them. The next step up that we are able to do is take really high quality primary care that people are already getting locally and wrap it with behavioral health coaching, care management, all these things we can do virtually without being right there with the patient. And then the ultimate, and what we love to do the most, is end to end. So we navigate people, we provide the surrounding services, and we have brick-and-mortar care centers where we're actually providing the care. We do that in 10 different states and in 30 care centers. So we have this long continuum, but ultimately, no matter where people are engaged with us, our goal is to get people in this country to high-quality primary care with aligned financial incentives that benefit the patient.
That's great. And so you guys are typically contracting with, are you working with large employers? Are you taking in government populations? Help us understand more about your care base.
Yeah, we absolutely do. We have clients that are employers, large range in sizes, but we have some jumbo employers, well-known employers, and then we also have some smaller ones. We do a lot of unions. We find that unions respond well to on-site health clinics, and then a lot of our clients are payers. Health insurance companies in this country have acknowledged that there is a true, and this isn't just my company, like primary care can really bend the cost curve if it's done well. And that's not just about us specifically. That is a known fact. And so for that reason, payers are really starting to invest in primary care, knowing that it's going to make more sense for everybody involved if the first stop is the right stop, which is primary care. And so a lot of our clients are payers actually also.
Cool. On the payer side, are you mostly looking at Medicare Advantage, or are you pretty broad stroke across the board?
Our clinics and our company is actually almost all commercial. Not that we won't consider Medicare Advantage at some point, but Medicare Advantage is a really good example of value-based care.
That's why I thought maybe you were focused there.
Yeah, no, which also makes us very unique, which you had asked me earlier. So a lot of focus followed Medicare Advantage for good reason, because it's good value-based care. But why you would start doing really good value-based care at the age of 65 when you're talking about primary
care? Too late, right?
Right. Primary care is to prevent illness. So We would have a lot lower healthcare costs at 65 if we can implement similar systems earlier. So we're actually focused on commercial.
Cool. I love it. And it's so essentially virtual and also brick and mortar. You're doing sort of care coordination as well as mental health, really broad swath across everything you might need along the way.
Yes, because whole person care, when I practiced for 17 years full time, and I would say about 80% of what walked in my door, there was a behavioral health component. It wasn't necessarily the first thing, I'm depressed or I'm anxious. We did have plenty of that, but there was a component, whether that be behavior change, whatever it might be. And behavioral health, there's a real acknowledgement in this country that there's a problem with access into behavioral health. So we just embedded it into our model. So you can get same day, next day appointments with our behavioral health clinicians, whether that's in person or virtual, which we feel like just really makes the rest of it more successful.
Oh, yeah. Because some of the wait times on these behavioral health appointments are obnoxiously long.
Oh, yeah.
And it exacerbates the problem.
Well, it's sad because people are reaching out for help. They can't get the help. And then unfortunately, in a situation where they might have been able to be helped as an outpatient in a reasonable cost manner, they end up inpatient because they don't have a choice but to go to the emergency room. Yeah. And we have to safety net those people. They're trying to do the right thing and the system's not supporting it.
Love that. Look, you've been bedside and now you're a leader at an organization providing these services at scale. Talk to us about your biggest setback. What was a learning that came from that?
I'll tell you, the biggest learning for me in my career was when I came out of residency and I felt like I was very well trained and about relationship and whole person care and all the things. And then I went into a fee-for-service model and thought, what on earth has happened? I had 20 minutes to do a well-woman exam and I might get an overbook on top of that. And I thought, here I am, very well trained to address all these things. And I want to address all these things. I don't want to say, you get one topic today. I'm only talking to you about one thing today, right? That's not how the human body works, to limit people to one topic. So I was in this situation that where financially it was taking me 3 weeks to cover my overhead. And then I would make what I made in that last week. So here I was 30 years old and I couldn't take a week off to be with my young family or else I just broke even that month. So my point is, in a fee-for-service model where it can look like those providers are just churning and burning to make a killing, that's also not what's happening. They're in a system that's not built correctly. I'll tell you what, that was a setback for me to go, oh, all the things I just spent all those years learning, that is about half of the equation. I'm also going to have to learn the business model, which is exactly how I ended up here, because I thought this isn't going to work long-term. And I think we've proven that it's not working long-term. Medicare Advantage moved to this more quickly than commercial did. But I ended up moving into a system where I also practiced for 12 years. It was some of the earliest advanced primary care there was. They had pharmacy on site, behavioral health coaching. And I thought, now this is what I'm trained to do.
Cool.
So I think the burnout we're seeing with a lot of physicians, I think we're losing some of our very best ones that just can't tolerate the business aspect of the system. And we have to be able to deliver care the right way so that we keep the well-trained physicians working.
Yeah, spot on. I think you're touching on some great points. And yeah, to have gone through all that training and then to feel like, man, I'm only halfway there and there's just so much. I think you weren't alone. And there's a lot of people in that seat right now, just coming out of school into this. The opportunity is that there's businesses and organizations like yours that are making an impact. Within what you guys do, what are you leveraging to help with some of this burnout and some of the outcomes perspectives, more so on the technology side?
Yeah. Oh, we're doing all kinds of things. We really do. You have to have healthy patients. You have to have healthy providers. So we pay attention to that based on the volume of patients they see, based on the fact that we've got all these supporting services. So an hour-long visit doesn't have to be an hour with the provider. It can be 40 minutes with the provider and 20 minutes with behavioral health. We are leveraging AI, as everybody is. Yeah. Our EMR has a really good AI system embedded into it that can be life-changing. I spent a lot of time when I was seeing patients full-time, giving them the attention they rightfully deserved, and then coming home and sitting on my couch and writing my notes. We're leveraging AI to say, hey, I'm going to consolidate everything you talked about for you. And then, yes, you need to read over it for accuracy. I think AI is going to be the answer in a lot of realms and a lot of industries. I think it's going to be really important that we do it correctly in healthcare for the simple reason that You give it too much bandwidth and any mistake could have a serious outcome, but it's been great. It's been a game changer.
Has that been one of the bigger game changers for you? I hear that a lot from physicians. The AI scribing is a game changer.
But it's so important. If they always say, if it's not documented, it didn't happen. And of course, that's true. That is true ultimately. And for fee for service, that means you can't bill enough. And for our world, value-based care, it means you didn't, if it's not documented, it didn't happen and you didn't accurately reflect the risk of who you're taking care of. And that's how you survive in this business. And so that being said, the documentation piece is the hardest for the providers, meaning you want to take that time to be quality time. You don't want to stare at a computer the entire time you're trying to make a connection with a patient. There's so many things that end up on the administrative task list, and people have gotten real creative on trying to take those pieces off so the providers can work at their highest skill set. But it's hard to do. I'd say AI is the best thing I've seen come along to help take off some of that workload.
That's great. Marla, if you had a chance to go back and speak to your 20-year-old self, what advice would you give her?
I think my 20-year-old self.
Yeah,
I hadn't even gone to med school yet. Oh my goodness. I would absolutely take the same path as far as being a family medicine physician. I am very passionate about primary care. I think I would tell myself this might be more like my 29-year-old self. I think I would tell that person, like, there are people doing it right. There are people that think the way you think. You're not an anomaly. But it's not that the people around me didn't care. It was just you get in the system and you're just doing what you do. And I just thought you can find them. And this world is going to expand to where if there's people that think like you in Seattle, you can work with those people too, right? It used to be so local. And as we've all aged and become virtual and COVID helped that all out, most of the people I work with aren't anywhere near me. And so it's fun to be able to find right-minded people that are going to continue to fight because we have to do something or healthcare is just going to continue on this path.
I love that. Great advice. I think she would appreciate that.
I think she would.
And everybody that's there now, take a note from Dr. Marla McLaughlin. There's other people like you that want to make this better. You don't have to give up. And now there's a lot more, I think, than back then. And the systems are more supportive to that end. So super cool. Love that advice. Marla, what closing thought you want to leave us with, and where can people reach out to you and your team?
Yeah. So the best place to reach out to me, I'm on LinkedIn, Marla B. McLaughlin, MD, probably the best place to reach out to me. And as far as closing thoughts, I touched on this earlier. This is not, if you walked in our care centers, they are beautiful and they have tons of technology in them. The point of these care centers is not to upcharge people for special care. The point of these care centers is to do care in a way that cleans up the very difficult navigation of a very difficult healthcare system in a way that saves money so that this can be supplied to everybody. Like, I don't want people to think that these really new, quote, fancy models of care are meant to always be an upsell. That's really not the point. That's not the point of what we're doing. It's not the point of value-based care. So I think it's something for everybody. That would be the message that I want to get across.
Love it. And by the way, the question that just popped into my brain as people think about what you offer, if I'm a large employer that has already signed up for a health plan for my employees, tell me more about that. Like, how does can you bolt on to an existing plan, or do you sit on alone cash basis? Talk to us about that.
There's all sorts of things we can do. Through our technology, employers a lot of times right now are getting caught up in all the point solutions that are out there.
Too many of them.
There's so many of them. And so like some of our technology can help aggregate them if they're already in contracts that they've got to use them. Because I always say the human body did not take note that we are now separating it into all different apps, right? Like a diabetes app has to talk to the cardiology app. And we can help employers, number one, think through that. See if there generally is an ROI based on the data with their population. We can help aggregate those apps if they really want to do those apps. Or we can say, hey, listen, let us just get your people to higher quality primary care so you don't feel like you have to have this app situation that becomes really fragmented. I think it was done with the best intentions, but the outcomes have not been great. Very bad.
No, good to know. Good to know. Thank you for satisfying that question there. Just for anybody thinking about reaching out to you or the team, there's a little more clarity. And if you have more questions, that's why we leave the best way to get in touch with our guests in the show notes. So check out those show notes with a short summary of our discussion with Dr. Marla McLaughlin. Today, you'll find her LinkedIn there. Reach out, ask her questions directly. That's why we do these. Thank y'all for tuning in. And Marla, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.